We are going to do 3b first and then 3a because 3b is easier than 3a because it doesn't involve a fraction. So this time we have negative 5x squared minus 10x. I'm going to put the negative 2 on the right-hand side by subtracting 2 on both sides. What we noticed in our activity is when you had a negative 5 or a number out in front, our goal, and this is going to be 2 steps down the line, is going to be have negative 5 something squared equals something. That negative 5 gets factored out of what's being squared. So what we do as a preliminary step in this equation is we take the negative 5 out of both the x squared, and then we think what has to be in that space. If I'm going to have x squared minus 2x, what is going to be in here? This is going to be x minus 1. If it has a minus 2x in there, this has to be x minus 1. If this is a minus 1 there, what would be in here? Plus 1. And now comes the thinking, but you guys figured this out on the boards. Yes?
Since you're dividing negative 10 by negative 5, wouldn't it be positive?
Yes. Thank you so much. So this should be, you're right, I factored out a negative 5. That should be plus 2, which would make this instead of minus 1, plus 1. This is still going to be a plus 1 in the brackets here. Why don't I put plus 1 on the right-hand side? If I add 1 to the left, why am I not adding 1 to the right? Why does this have to be minus 5? Because this 1, see how this 5, that minus 5 would hit that 1. We'd actually have subtracted 5 on the left side. So in order to do the same thing on the right side, we would have to subtract 5, which gives us negative 7 on this side. How do I get the square by itself? Divide by negative 5. Negative divided by negative is positive, so this just becomes 7 over 5. Now my squared is by itself. I can square root both sides. This is how your textbook has the answer. Since we did chapter 2 already, we would have to rationalize the denominator, and we would write our answer as the square root of 35 over 5. That's with a number in front. So if we recap, the difference the number in front makes is it takes an extra step where you factor that number out. You still add your spaces on both sides in order to complete the square. You know in here it needs to be a plus 1 because that plus 2 means you have to have x plus 1 squared. But on this side, the number is going to be different because that plus 1 gets multiplied by the negative 5. So you've actually subtracted 5. So you need to subtract 5 on the other side as well. And now we can do part A. Is everybody done writing down part B? Part A just appears to be a little bit more difficult because of the fraction. We have 1/2 x squared plus 3x equals, I'll move the 9/2 to the other side. We factor out the half. What 1/2 times what is 3? This is the best way to factor out a fraction. It's got to be 6. If you think about distributing, 1/2 times 6 would be 3. So when I take a half out of 3, there would be 6. Put your space here and space there. If I have a 6x, what's this going to be squared? To get a 6x, has to be x plus 3. And if I have an x plus 3 squared on this side, what would have been in the space? 9. That 9 would have been multiplied by that half. So I have actually added 9/2 or 4.5. So over here I would have to also add 4.5 or 9/2. 9/2 plus 9/2. So not 18/4. It's 18/2, which is just equal to. How do I get rid of the half out in front? Divide by half or multiply by 2. Multiply both sides by 2. Now we have the square root by itself. Square root both sides. We have a square root. Can we simplify that? Yes. So even though your textbook doesn't, we are going to practice simplifying that. That square root of 18 is 3√2. This is our final answer.